He's not your policeman. He's my policeman. You can't have him.
My policeman.
Anyway, if you've not subscribed yet, you really should, because you get quality content like this. Quality, incisive film criticism.
The deep insights, yes.
Like this. We are deep into award season here. The year-end stuff is coming. Wakanda Forever, The Fabelmans. Name a movie that's coming out in November. November is insanely packed, and we're here for all of it. So join us, please. We'd love to have you. Thanks to all of our new friends. Alonso, please tell us about My Policeman.
This love is all-consuming. I pity people who don't know what it feels like to be this in love.
So this is written by Ron Nyswaner, who won an Oscar for writing Philadelphia a few decades ago. And it's also a queer story, but it is more about the hell of the closet in the mid 20th century in the United Kingdom. We see the story unfold in the 50s and in the present. I mean, I was trying to do the math about how old these characters are. This is like the early 21st century, right?
I think it's like late 90s, early 2000s, because at one point in the more recent
modern,
there's like a video store next to a tanning booth, like a tanning salon.
There we go. Okay.
So I think it's like late 90s ish, because otherwise
turn
they'd
of the
be
millennium, we'll say.
Yeah. I think they're all about like mid 70s. At the point
that's what I was thinking too. Gina McKee is a retired school teacher, and they deliver under her Rupert Everett, who has recently had a stroke, and her husband, played by Linus, Roache, is not happy about this. In flashback, we learned that the three of them were thick as thieves back in the 50s, but some were a little thicker than others, because it turns out that Rupert Everett's character, who is a young person, is played by, this is where I get confused. Harry Styles looks like he should age into being Rupert Everett. And then David Dawson looks like he should age into playing Linus Roache, but they don't. So young Rupert Everett, who is played by David Dawson, is a museum curator and an aesthete, and he becomes close to Harry Styles as the policeman, and Harry Styles' fiance, who's a school teacher, played by Emma Corrin. The policeman and the curator fall in love, but it's the 50s, and this cannot be. And so the policeman marries the school teacher, wanting to have a normal life and have kids, but she figures out what's going on. Tragedy upon tragedy occurs because of the patriarchy and homophobia.
So I almost wish they had done it in one time period or the other. I feel like the flashback structure is really clunky, and it depletes it of momentum. It depletes it of emotional heft. Like, just when they're getting somewhere in one time or the other, they yank you back to the other place. I feel like the 50s stuff with Harry Styles and Emma Corrin and David Dawson is much more effective than the latter day stuff with the older actors playing them with the sense of perspective, with the feeling of remorse and like what they should have done and what they should have said. The only interesting narrative twist with that is that Gina McKee, as the older version of the school teacher, has some revelations about what happened when, right?
Yes.
She reads his diary. She reads Patrick's diary and learns that there already was a relationship going on between her then boyfriend and this museum guy. And so that's the only, and that comes kind of early. This is not really a M. Night Shyamalan-esque twist here. That comes kind of early, that revelation that the time frame was off. That's the only thing that I think makes this back and forth structure useful.
I think, the revelations are less interesting only in that you're not entirely clear what she knows and doesn't know until you find out what she knows and doesn't know. And if you'd known that earlier, it would have made a difference later, if that makes any sense. So because when she first picks up the diary, I'm like, oh, is this how she's learning that they had a relationship? And then you find out flashback, like, no, she knew then also. And so I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't entirely work in that way, but there is a story here that's being told that's really interesting, which is this sort of love triangle that emerges where you have this cop who understands who he is, but also understands that he can't, have the job that he wants, and he can't sort of be in the world the way he wants to be as an openly gay man. And that even Patrick, while is a confirmed bachelor and, working in the arts, has to sort of like watch his step and be careful about who's looking and all of that sort of thing. And, lives are destroyed because that's how things happened in that period. It's, you mentioned the Falwell documentary that's on Hulu right now. I mean, like, you still see these kinds of like sham marriages happening in like religion and in politics where like guys decide that they have to have a wife if they want to achieve the ambitions they want, and the women either know about it and settle for that and accept it, or sometimes don't know and are sort of deprived of the fuller life they might have had with somebody who genuinely wanted to be in this relationship with them.
Right. And here's the problem with casting Harry Styles, right? Because he's the crux of this whole thing. You have to believe that he is in love with this man, but also has genuine feelings for this woman. She's not a beard. He's not using her. He feels something and he is conflicted.
Sure.
Right? She's a useful pathway to the life he thinks he's supposed to lead. Yes.
Right.
But you're supposed to feel that
there
he's genuinely churning with like regret and conflict, and he's just not got that in him. Like, there's a scene where, as you said, she knows that he's got this relationship with a museum curator. They have what is supposed to be like a confrontational conversation about it, and he's just not got the goods. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. Like, he's so wooden. Like, they actually have that dialogue off screen. Like, he's so capable of like emoting to the extent that he needs to. And it's a fascinating juxtaposition with his character in Don't Worry, Darling. Because in both, it's these 50s husbands who externally look like they're playing the part, but they're actually living a lie and gaslighting their wives. Right.
True.
He looks great. He's gorgeous. The camera loves him. He's got that thing, but opposite people who really know what they're doing, it is so glaringly obvious that he's not up for the assignment yet. Maybe he will be someday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he completely like embarrasses himself, but he is kind of getting wiped off the screen by Emma Corrin, who is just acting the crap out of this, and she's giving you the genuine sort of like hurt of I'm sorry, Dave is reminding me, Emma Corrin uses they them pronouns.
I didn't realize that.
Yes, I had forgotten about that.
Thank you.
They are genuinely sort of emoting the pain and the understanding of like, this is not what I signed up for, this is not the person I thought I was marrying. I think Styles is sort of struggling to keep up.
There are some glimmers of the movie that might have been. Like, there's a whole sequence that takes place in Venice that is sexy and fun and like glamorous and shimmering. Ben Davis shot this, right? Who we keep talking about because he shot a bunch of Marvel movies. He shot Banshees of Inisherin. He shot Billboards. And so like there's a whole section that has this tantalizing promise of what this whole film might have been. And then it's gone again. What are you giving this movie?
I give it a 7. I think that it solidly works. It could have taken off, I think, into grander directions. It's definitely an improvement from the other film that I have seen from director Michael Grandage, which was a movie called Genius that was not good at all. The 5 actors who are not Harry Styles go a long way in really selling the material. And he is, again, fine, just not at their level.
Raise your hand if you're an actor who is not Harry Styles. I'm saying 5.4. So My Policeman is now on Amazon Prime Video for you to stream at your home.